So you're working on an impression, you've got yourself your uniform sorted out, you've got hold of a nice M1 carbine to use for it, and you're wondering what pouches should I be using on my weapon to go with the carbine. So today I'm going to try and help you answer that question. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So you've decided to do an impression using an M1 carbine. The M1 carbine is quite flexible. You can use it for a lot of impressions, radio operators, heavy weapons teams, NCOs, drivers, all sorts of stuff. So you've got your carbine, you want to know what bit of weapon you can use. Now luckily for you, the carbine is one of the easiest weapons to use in this regard. So what I have here is a standard M1 carbine pouch. So this will hold 2 magazines for the M1 carbine. It's a very simple little pouch. They're not hard to get hold of. They're not overly expensive, and you can get some fairly good reproduction ones as well. Now what this does is hold 2 M1 carbine pouches, and this fits to the standard pistol belt. So this is basically your go-to pouch, and this is what you're going to want for basically every impression. The only exception is if you're doing some airborne stuff during the Normandy invasion, in which case you'll be possibly wanting to use rigger pouches as well, which I'll show you in a minute. So I'll go through this and show you what it does. Basically you've just got a single lifter dot at the front. You just flip that open like that. You grab hold of your carbine magazine. These are tiny and you can store them just about anywhere, and they just simply slot into the pouch like so. There's absolutely nothing complicated about this piece of web gear at all. You then just clip it closed. Now if I spin it round, you can see it has a big belt loop to fit onto your belt, and also you'll see on the hair this is the back of a snap. So if I grab a belt now, I'll show you how this actually fits to your belt properly. We'll go to the top down and you can see that the belt hair has the snap for the pouch on it at the side. You simply feed your belt through the loop. They're going to spin it over. We're going to line up the snap here and just push that in, which can be a little bit fiddly. There you go, that's now snapped in. And that's all there is to it. So you've now got your pouch fitted to your belt. Now you're not limited to only using one of these on each belt. You can fit as many as you deem fit for your impression. I have 2 on mine. Mine's done up mostly as a vehicle belt, so it's got 2 of them on it, a compass, my canteen and my first aid pouch. You've probably seen it before when I did the video setting my weapon up. But if you just look on the top down view here, you can see that there's only a snap on one side of the belt, so if you want any extra pouches on, like this one here, they just slide over the belt and then you just lock them in between other things so they don't fall off the belt basically. So you can see there, this isn't actually attached to anything, but that's not going to come away because the suspenders are holding it on, and that's also stuck between the canteen and my compass pouch. Now if you're doing an airborne display, you want to do something from the 101st, for example, during Normandy, then you have the option of using rigger pouches here. You don't have to, they had both, but basically these just slide onto the belt the same way as the carbine pouch does, but it doesn't have the snap to fit it on that one side. So you've got your lifter dot here. There's also ones that tie down, and you can hold about 5 magazines in one of these. So if you do an airborne, you may want to have these on your belt instead of the carbine pouches. Again, depends on your specific impression. So once you've done your research, seen what you want to do, you can make your choice whether you want to use this or the standard carbine pouch. If you'd like to hold additional magazines on your weapon, then these are very small and they don't weigh anything. So your options are really simple. You can either fix additional pouches to your belt. If you don't want to do that, you can just chuck these in your pocket, or you can always grab something like an M1 GP bag and just chuck a few of these in there. So really, the M1 carbine is probably the easiest weapon to portray for an American impression, because you've only got the one option really, unless you're doing airborne, so you can't really go wrong. They're lightweight, they're easily available in most places, and you can get good reproductions. If you want to hold extra magazines, they're tiny. You don't have to worry about having any big extra drum mags or anything stupid like that on you. Just chuck them wherever you need, and then you can make a nice impression for heavy weapons team, radio operator, all sorts of stuff that was applicable to using the M1 carbine. Now there are a couple of things just to mention. There's more than one version of these. This is like the most common standard version, the American made one. There is also a British made version of this pouch that looks a little bit different, and I've just recently become aware that it appears that the Marine Corps had their own version of it as well. So do a little bit of research on what you want to do, but this in general is going to solve all of the impressions, especially if you're doing anything in Europe that's just standard army. Just grab yourself these, they're really hard to go to. One more thing to be careful of is that you can get pouches like this that have got eyelets in the bottom, which are used to fit the wire hangers for other bits of weapon like the medical pouch. You don't really want to be buying them ones if you want to be doing a World War II impression. From what I can tell, they only come out right at the end of the war, and I can't even tell you for sure if they saw service in the war at all. So I would avoid the ones which have got additional eyelets at the bottom personally. So when you're all done, you've got your carbine pouches fitted to your belt, you've got the rest of your reb gear fitted onto it as well. You should have something that looks a little bit like this. Obviously your impression is going to vary to mine a little bit depending on exactly what you're going to have, but just for a brief idea of what the equipment all looks set up, here you have it. Obviously minus the beard and the terrible modern glasses. You don't want them at a display. The last thing I want to mention for the carbine is that you always have the option of fitting one of the pouches to the actual stock of the rifle. I don't personally do it because I think that's something that's overdone a bit too much. And also, if you fit one of them pouches to your rifle, you're not going to be able to really put this in the universal vehicle rifle rack like what I have on my Jeep, and that is where this tends to live. So for me, that's a no-go, but for you, certainly you can do that. The only downside is you have to take the stock off the gun in order to slide the pouch onto it. So there we have it, guys. A quick overview of the correct weapon to use with your M1 carbine. On that note, I hope the video has helped some of you. Obviously, you're going to get different mileage out of these pouches. There's a lot of variation in impressions that use the M1 carbine for your various different heavy weapon roles and officer roles and radio operators, vehicles, all of the different things that you can do with an M1 carbine. So figure out the research for your own impression, see how many you want and what you want on there, and what other weapon you want to pair it with. Obviously you're going to want your canteen and your first aid pouch, basically similar to what I've fitted on mine. The only thing on mine that's particularly special is the compass pouch, which you probably won't want half the time. But anyway, I hope the video has been helpful. If you like it, please do give me a like and a subscribe. Leave questions and comments below. That helps me out a great deal, and I'll see you soon.